Hey Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline and fans. You're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do that all-important comic book review so you, the fans, can make a decision on what comics to buy. And today, guys, we're talking about A-Force issue number 5. Now, you're probably wondering, Mike, why are you talking about A-Force issue number 5? I mean, we've already had issues 1 through 4. Well, in issues 1 through 4 of A-Force, I was a huge fan of the story. I was a huge fan of the artwork. And I love the Secret Wars book, and I thought this book was a hit. And now it was announced recently that we would get a new creative team. Now that time has arrived. We have our new creative team, and I wanted to share with you guys if this book was still worth picking up after this new creative team has arrived on this book. So that's why I'm doing this review for you today. Alright, so now our new creative team is done by Kelly Thompson, and the artist is done by Ben Cadwell. Now, I'm going to touch on the art a little bit first here. Now, there's a big art difference in this book. When you looked at the first story arc of A-Force, we saw lots of detail, lots of character expressions, just a very colorful book that makes everything pop. And in this book, you don't see that so much. Yes, there's some certain facial expressions in there that are okay, but certain characters just don't look right. Miss Marvel, come on. She looks like a man. And Medusa's hair, it's not the flowing, snaky hair that we've grown to love over the years from Medusa. It's like this fluffy, like, afro puff that kind of, goes all over the place. Nico looks completely different as she gets a makeover, as she's more goth-like, and she has a cap and the cybernetic arm. The only person who looks even remotely close to the way they look is Singularity. Even She-Hulk, she looks completely different. She doesn't look their same. And at times, these characters look a little bit more serious, but then at other times, when the artist draws the characters, they tend to make them a little bit like, they look like kids. And, I'll show you, in for instance, like here, she looks like a little girl, and I just did not dig the artwork in this book whatsoever. It was just it was just crazy. Just inconsistent for me, and I really didn't enjoy it. It just doesn't go with what I'm used to with this particular series. And sometimes there's books where I can sit there and say, you know what? I got used to the art as the book goes, but I just didn't like it. So, now that I ragged on the artwork, what did I think about the actual story? Well, in this story, we wound up seeing that our heroes come across this big mythological dragon, and we find out that there's a Thor. And so, right away, after our group of misdrawn characters go to this Thor, we find out that it's a version of Dazzler. It's a Dazzler Thor. And you guessed it, it's a Thor from Secret Wars. So somehow she fell into the 616 dimension. And so what happens is these cast of characters wind up teaming up with each other, and we wind up seeing that they defeat this dragon. They wind up going out to eat. They wind up getting to know each other. And Dazzler wants to talk to this other version of herself. And the thing that was revealed, the big thing that was revealed here, and one thing that seemed interesting to me is we find out that Dazzler has this talk with herself, and she tells the other Thor that she is actually dying, that she has that mutant disease from the Inhumans. And it's just found it strange that Dazzler doesn't want to talk to her own friends, but she'll talk to some other version of herself. I just thought that was a little odd. And after that part of the story gets really, I thought pretty good, we wound up getting sent into this other plot of a story where it comes to this villain that is taking possession of Nico. And the next thing we wind up seeing is that her friends are on the floor, just in the middle of nowhere. And I was kind of like, okay. So what next? That was your big cliffhanger. So I was just totally underwhelmed by this book. It was disappointing, and it suffered for all the reasons that I thought it was going to suffer. What really made A-Force a special book was the writing and the artwork. The two went brilliantly together, and all the emotions that you saw in the comic book is what brought those characters to life. And their stories were hilarious. The way they interacted with each other was hilarious. And in this book, I didn't quite get that. I couldn't get the emotions that I was expecting from the characters that I liked so much in the last story. So after reading this particular issue, I'm not going to be reading A-Force anymore, unfortunately. I just got too attached to the original creative team, and this takes it in a totally different direction. Not immersed in the art and not immersed in the story. So in the end, I got to give this one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. So guys, now it's your turn to leave the comments below what you thought of A-Force issue number 5. Guys, are you on the same boat as I am? Did you love this title? Did you hate this title? Or do you like it now? So guys, tell me again in those comments below. And as always, fans, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and don't forget to watch us on our live show each and every Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about our top 5 comics of the week and all the greatest comic book news. So again, fans, thank you for watching, and this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Take care, fans. Bye.